Yeah, yeah. Coming up on Mental Health Marty, sexuality and black men. You don't want to miss this episode. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Yes, it's me, Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, always coming to you in this amazing living color like we do in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. You know what they say, it never rains in Southern California. Our heart still goes out to everyone on the East Coast in Florida for all the devastation and everything that's going on with you. We are praying for you and telling you to keep your head up, keep hope alive, and keep the faith. Let's show the best of what we as humanity can be, and that's supporting and loving each other in times of crises. So glad that you are here with us today. Now, just in case you might know, and I'll repeat this later on throughout the show, today is a pre-recorded show. Why? Because when this show airs, it will be Tuesday, October 11th. And guess what, y'all? That is a major national holiday because it's my born day, my birthday. Yes, happy birthday to me. Y'all send some love out to your boy. Say some happy birthday to the mental health hygienist who always wants to make sure that you are washing your mind on a daily basis. But before we get started on the show today, let me remind you the purpose of Mental Health Marty. So glad that you asked. Mental Health Marty is a psychoeducational show. And what do I mean by that? We are there to be a support system by bringing you some knowledge about mental health, especially in our Black and Brown communities, because we know that we are the ones that often suffer in silence, often too often, and many times because we don't have access or just don't even have the right knowledge about mental health. So we want to stop the negative stigmas that does exist within our communities. So this show is strictly meant for psychoeducational purposes. We are not meant to be a substitute for you seeing your therapist, your psychiatrist, your psychologist, your medical doctor, your coach, your mentor, your pastor, or anything like that. But we are to be a supplement to your treatment plan so that you become much stronger as a person. And our goal is that you achieve every goal that you want to in this life. And how do you do that? By being consistent and making sure that you have the right support system around you. And we want to be just that, your support system. However, if you're experiencing any type of psychological or medical emergency, please dial 911 or the new mental health hotline at 988 or go to your nearest urgent care for further assistance, because that's what it's all about. We want you to be healthy and safe and strong in this mental health world, in these COVID streets that we are living in, and monkeypox as well, because we want you to be safe and well. All of that affects your mental health. Now, how do you engage, even though this is a pre-recorded show? Again, I'm glad you asked that question. In order for us to recognize and see your comments because of the platform that we are on, we need you, if you're not already subscribed and a member of the Mental Health Marty YouTube channel, we want you to go over to the Mental Health YouTube channel and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to it so that every time you hear that bell, you'll know that a Mental Health Marty show is coming on, and we always come to you every week bringing you some important information. Can you believe, guys, I've been doing this show for nearly 7 years now. And it started off very, very small, but I just want to encourage you, please keep the momentum going. Don't lose out on your dream. I just did this because I wanted to help bring awareness about mental health, as we so often are the underserved communities. We're often misdiagnosed and over-medicated because we don't have, a lot of times, the necessary tools that we need in order to have accurate data and accurate knowledge to know how to ask the right questions and how also know how to respond to certain situations and circumstances. As a Black male therapist, I still only represent 1% of the field. And that's why it's so imperative. And that's why I love to do what I do. So today's topic, I'm so glad that you're joining us today. Today's topic, we are talking about sexuality and Black men. In other words, we want to focus on the stigmas, the traumas, and mental health that a lot of Black men go through, especially those when it comes to sex, sexuality, and sexual identity. And too often, we still have too many stigmas that continue to exist in our communities of color, especially in our Black community. And we are too often afraid to sit down and have the necessary conversation because we need to know that knowledge is power. And we have to strip off the ignorance and rip back the veil of ignorance in order that we might have healthy dialogues with everyone in our community so that we can support one another. It's only when we support each other that we are able to grow stronger and better. And I am so glad to have, listen, this is my brother from another mother. We've been rocking some time now. And I love him because, listen, he's not afraid to clash with me. I'm not afraid to clash with him. He's doing great work. And I like to call him, I think he's one of the unsung heroes, an unsung community activist that is not only known in Los Angeles County, but known across this nation. He is a major advocate for making sure that we in our community are aware about HIV and AIDS, that we're aware of the stigmas and the traumas that often happen in Black gay community. And I'm so glad to have this brother on the show with me, none other, and he has an earned doctorate. Touch your neighbor and say earned doctorate, because this is not an honorary. And I don't make light of that because he has done the work. He's written the paper. He's sat in the classes. He's defended his dissertation and all that. So I'm so glad to have with us none other than my brother, Dr. Dante Morrison. Doc, what's up, my brother?
What's up? Thank you, Marty. Thank you. That intro, man. I started laughing when you said he has an earned doctorate, and
Yes.
I didn't realize how important that was to mention until I was going through the process, and I started seeing all these honoraries. Nothing against anyone with an honorary doctorate,
Right,
but I'm
right.
thinking like, yo, if you ain't really put pen to paper and put that work in, it's a totally different vibe going through the
It
process of becoming a PhD. So
sure
thank you for
is.
that. I appreciate it. I appreciate
Man,
it.
listen, I want you to know how proud I am of you and the work that you do, and you do it tirelessly, even though sometimes it can be tiring. And you do it
Man,
selflessly, even though sometimes you would love to be selfish. And you continue
definitely.
to do this, man. And I thank you for being a leader, for being a mentor for myself, being a role model, for always pushing me when I wanted to give up in so many areas, man. And I believe in giving people their flowers. And because we as Black men, Let me start there. We have to learn how to love each other and
Right.
not be ashamed of it. And man, know that I love you. I'm so proud of you, the work that you are doing. And I can't wait till you continue to blow up even greater, because I still have not seen and ears still have not heard, and nor has it entered into the heart of man what God is going to do in your life. So I just felt that today, my brother.
I
Know that I
received
love
that.
you.
Hey, I received that, man. Thank you, thank you. I'm always humbled by those kind of words. So thank you. I appreciate
Of
it.
course, of course. Now, Dante, I know you, and I know that a lot of our followers do know you, but those who may not know you, because you are a busy person. I got to schedule you 10 months in advance because you got the calendar, and one day I'm going to send my honorarium check over to you. But until then, I just appreciate the
Right,
look.
right.
People know
Favor
who
ain't
you
fair, but
are.
it's free.
That's right. That's right. And I'll take it. I'll take it. Let the people know who you are and all the great work that you have done.
Sure. Just a quick summation. I am Dr. Dante Morrison from Los Angeles, California. I work in the field of sexual health, specifically providing HIV education and sexual health services
Yes.
to young men of color. Those who
Hmm.
are identify as gay, straight, bisexual, trisexual, pansexual,
Right.
any kind of sexual, I talk about it. I also do a lot of work within the faith community because I believe that the
Yes.
Black church has a voice and a
Yes.
purpose that goes
Yes.
beyond what they're currently doing. I think the Black church is the hub of the Black community. And if I can get
That's
them on
right.
board with conversations about sexual health and wellness, we'll
Yes.
begin to see a shift in how people approach these conversations. I have 2 books out. I host the Dante Show on YouTube and
Yes.
Facebook Live. My hands in a lot of stuff. I'm trying to streamline it down so I don't burn myself out. But the
Right.
good thing is
Right.
that everything that I do, I love doing it. So
That's right.
nothing really feels like a chore. It's just a lot to juggle, but I do love everything that I'm doing.
And when you're passionate about something, it does, even though it might be a chore at times, we know that it's done out of love. And I know you have helped so many men and women, especially in our community, to really face whatever situation they're going through,
Right.
because it's a scary thing.
It
And
is.
that's part of our topic today, talking about sexuality
Yeah.
and Black men. Okay, you went here. Let's start here first, because I know what your dissertation is all about. But you talked about, and I truly agree with you, about faith being the hub still of
Yeah.
our community. And if we want
Yeah.
to get information out, we really still have to go back to the church. Why is this such a passionate topic for you, number one? And why is it that you have this calling to really help educate the church, that we partner when it comes
Mhm.
to training about sexuality and sexual diseases that still plague our community?
Right. So basically, so my dissertation was titled "The effects of faith-based sexual exclusion upon the lives of Black men who have sex with men who are actively involved in the Black Christian Church." Because
Mm,
I want to unpack the role that the church plays
mm-hmm,
in a lot of the psychological pitfalls that many Black
mm,
men who have sex with men, and notice I'm saying men who have sex with men, and I'm going to
mm-hmm.
expound upon that momentarily,
Right.
because when we think gay, we box someone in instantly. But
Yes.
men who have
Yes.
sex with men, that is just a guy who has engaged in any kind of intimate act with another man, does
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily mean he identifies himself as gay or as
Right.
bisexual. It's all about the
Right.
behavior. And I think that
Right.
it's time that people learn that behavior and identity is 2 totally different things. I can
That's
identify
good.
as gay. I can identify as gay and still never have sex with the same sex. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
those are just titles. But I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to really talk about the role the church played, the Black church specifically played, in how
Mm-hmm.
many of those men navigate life. A lot of Black
Mm-hmm.
men grew up in church or have some kind of faith underpinning in their life, and it guides them in
Right.
some way, shape, form, or fashion. And when they come into their awareness of who they are sexually, it may go against what they've been taught about themselves biblically. So how do
Mm-hmm.
I exist? How do I exist at this intersection of being Black,
Mm-hmm.
being male,
Mm-hmm.
and being
Mm-hmm.
gay or bisexual or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
when the
Mm-hmm.
Bible, or what I've been taught about the Bible, has told me that everything about what I naturally feel is wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and when I was having these conversations with this population, I was just
Right.
hearing all the trauma, that came from
That's
the Black
good.
church. Just,
Yes.
I mean, real deep rooted trauma, and it went
Yes.
beyond their ability to sustain a healthy relationship with either a man or
Mm-hmm.
a woman. They just couldn't
Mm-hmm.
do it. But how they felt about themselves, their self esteem,
That's
their
good.
feeling of
Yes.
not being a part of the overall Black community, and
Yes.
it was painful to hear, because the church, as we know it, is supposed to be a
Right.
place of refuge, a place
Of
of
healing
healing,
and refuge.
where we get
Yes. Yes.
comfort, where we
Yes.
get peace, where we're made to feel safe. But for many of these men, they did not feel safe in church, but they were going to
Mm-hmm.
church out of habit or obligation, or for a love
Right.
of God. They love God,
Yes. And that's a
or
piece that real quick, and I think that's a piece that we often mistake and not look at more in depth, because we can be obese and go to church, and we don't say because you eat too much food you don't love
right,
God. We can be an
right,
alcoholic and go to church and
right.
say just because you drink too much, or be a drug addict, or even be a prostitute in those type of things. We
You can be
know
a
those things.
heterosexual hoe and go to
Co-
church and be accepted. Period.
but
You can
but
be
but
a
it's acceptable.
heterosexual hoe. Yeah. As long as you're heterosexual, any sin that you do is okay. That's fixable.
Yes.
We can pray about
Right.
that. But the minute we talk about homosexuality, lesbianism, transgenderism,
Bisexual.
anything that's outside the heterosexual wheelhouse, it's not
Uh,
tolerated.
and can I say this? Me being a therapist and all this, I did not know. Y'all did not tell me and prepare me for this pansexuality that's happening in marriages and these open. I could not. My mouth has dropped, and I'm not going to expose the saints because that's not my job. And I said it that way for a reason. Y'all can catch that, of how many people that actively go to church, who are in leadership roles, who are participating in these open marriage relationships, and it's
Polyamory.
okay. And the
Polyamory.
polyamorism is like off the chain. I went to a sex specialist down in LA. I said, I just need you to explain this whole polyamorism to me, because I you know how you know of something, but
Right.
now I'm facing it here in
Right.
Southern California. A good of my couples that I see, about 10%, if not 15%, are polyamorous relationships. And so
Uh-huh.
how do we do that? And it's difficult because, I tell them, say, listen, I don't necessarily understand all of this, but I need you to walk me through it. And so we have to look at things in a whole different way. And I love what your dissertation does. It at least puts the light on some areas that we have been ignorant in. And so let's have
Right.
these conversations. Now, talk to me, Dante, about maybe what kind of reception and or pushback are you getting as a result of this topic and being a pioneer of this?
Some of the pushback primarily comes from an unwillingness to even talk to me about it. And I think a lot of people,
Gotcha.
when they hear my topic or whatever, they think I'm coming for the Black church or trying to bash the Black church.
Right.
I'm not trying to
Right.
bash the Black church at all. I'm a
Come on.
product of the Black church. I still
Yes.
attend a traditional Black church. I'm a minister within the
Yes.
Black church. I
Come
love the
on.
Black church. I have no problem with it.
That's right.
But what I need the Black church to do is to remain relevant. And right now, the Black church is
Mm.
not relevant in the lives of a lot
Wow.
of people that go there.
Wow.
It's a
Wow.
traditional system, but it's not relevant because, like you said, times are changing.
It
And
is.
systems of understanding and belief and even spiritual
Yes.
connectedness is changing. And
Yes.
holding to those
Yes.
traditional tenets, and having these mentalities. Well, if you do it like this, then God will not love you. Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
have to become a relevant space of worship where all can
Mm-hmm.
feel the love of God. So that's what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
do. So the
I love it.
resistance and pushback has really come from people who have not thought about taking the time to sit down with me to understand why I did my
Okay.
dissertation on my area of research. Now, the
Right.
successes is those who have been waiting for it. A lot of clergy
Right.
have been waiting to get that understanding. Believe
That's
it or
good.
not, the good clergy does outweigh the bad clergy, but the
That's
bad
good.
clergy gets
Yes.
all the press. The bad clergy
Right.
gets all
Right.
the viral videos.
Yes.
They get all the
Yes.
social media hubbub. The good
Well,
clergy
because that's
who
what
are
we
out
like.
there, that's what they like. It's
It's
salacious.
yes.
Let's
Yes.
drag this pastor for talking about
Yes.
money and wanting a Rolex and getting
Yes.
robbed. And let's talk
Yes.
about that. We don't elevate
Yes.
the good clergy who are doing the work and trying to bridge gaps and strengthen the black community. We don't talk about them. They don't get their
That's right.
shine.
And
So
there are more
those
of
clergy,
those.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
and
But
that's
go
who I
ahead. Go ahead.
surround
Go.
myself with. So those have
Mm-hmm.
been the ones who really taking a liking to my work because they see that
Nice.
I'm trying to come in and really elevate their churches to be more inclusive of all people. Now, what I'm not trying to do is change anybody's theological understanding of
Right.
human
None of their
sexuality.
doctrine. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
believe what you believe, and that is fine. However,
That's
what you
good.
need to do is be respectful of those who may live outside the box of your understanding. Because what I'm
So
seeing
can
is
you?
a lack of respect. And when we don't have respect in the church, we become
That's
this
good.
exclusive club that's only welcoming in folks that think like
That look
us
like.
or
Yep.
live
That's
like us.
good.
Yeah. And
That's good.
that's
Can
not
you talk?
cool.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because as a result of that, we're now isolating a community of people
Right.
who truly have a love for God, who have a love for
Right.
their community, what have you. Can you highlight and talk about some of the traumas as a result of the stigmas that you've definitely identified in that regard? Now, what are some of the traumas that you have seen, and you, let me say this for those who may not know, Dante has definitely offered me a wonderful opportunity, and I so cherish the times that I can have monthly group sessions with his young men. We're not calling out the organization because Dante has his own group and his own
Right.
greatness. And so I appreciate the time that I spent with those young men, that you're continuing to allow me to spend with those young men. And my goal is never to shame, because listen, I got some stuff I don't want nobody to know about.
Listen, we all do. We all do.
We all do. That's just
Everybody
the truth.
watching, it's a part of them they don't want nobody to know about. Everybody
That's
watching
right.
right now, you know.
And that's
And
just
I
being
honor
real.
that and I respect that.
Yes, yes. But I know some of the traumas. But what have been some of the traumas in your work that you have seen that these black men, because we have to first identify they are black men, and nobody even cares about their sexuality, their sexual orientation, their sexual identity, or anything, because they first look at them as black men. So that carries all this stigma that comes
Right.
along with it naturally, because I just first say you're a black man, so you got this weight already on you. But what are
Right.
some of
Already.
the reoccurring traumas that you see often in the community that you serve?
Basically an inability to just live authentically. They can't
Mm.
live authentic because when they
Hmm.
try to live authentic, it's always something combating them for who they are. Whether they're
Hmm.
too feminine, if they're too feminine, usually the heterosexual community doesn't welcome them, doesn't embrace them. Now, believe it or not, if they're too masculine, some gay
Right.
men may be like, oh, you just trying to front for the straight folks. You ain't really one of us. Just
Right.
act gay.
Okay.
What is acting gay and what is acting
That's good.
straight? And I think trying to
That's
to
good.
to to navigate that, and I think that the heterosexual community has this misunderstanding that all gays get along, all gays are the same. No, there's internalized
Ooh.
homophobia within the gay community that is detrimental to the mental health of a lot of black
Can
gay
you
men.
talk about that a little bit? What are some of those levels? Because I think a lot of times we don't understand the subculture that's in the subculture that even exists within there.
Exactly. There are subcultures. So you have the masculine presenting gay man. That's the gay man who is gay, but you look at him, you will never assume he was gay. So take Idris
Hmm.
Elba. If Idris Elba came out right now and said he was gay, oh my God, black women across the world would faint. They would just faint. They like, I didn't see it. I didn't know that. What do you mean? Oh my goodness. Because he
He had
he
no
navigates
signs.
his life. Yeah, he navigates his life as heterosexual presenting.
Hmm.
So those kind of gay men sometimes get a lot of negative feedback from the feminine gay community because they're like, well,
Mm.
you got it better than we got because you're
Oh wow.
passing. You can go to the
Right.
straight parties and they won't clown you. You can go to the straight clubs, they won't harass you. Whereas the feminine presenting gay man, the ones that are more softer, the ones that carry purses, the ones that do their faces, they have to
Hmm.
navigate their existence totally different. They're always on guard. They're always in
Mm.
this protect mode, this fight or flight mode. And they look at
Mm-hmm.
some of those who are gay, but
Mm-hmm.
can come across as masculine and walk through doors
Mm-hmm.
that they're not allowed to enter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but when the lights go out, we're all in the same room. We're
Mm-hmm.
all men
Mm-hmm.
who have sex with men. We're all men who have sex with men, but only a certain type is accepted by the overall community or welcomed
Got
into
you.
certain spaces. That is trauma. That's
So
trauma.
what does
So
that?
how do I
What do you?
live authentically
There we
as
go.
that?
That's it.
How do I live
Yeah, that's
authentically if I'm not welcomed by the masses for being who I am? How do I live authentically if I'm being told you need to man up? Well, what is man up looking
mm,
like? Does
that's
man up mean
good.
I need to
That's
be
good.
hostile and arrogant and mean? Is that manning up? Because to me, if you're hostile, arrogant, and mean, you need mental health therapy. If
Mm.
you're always angry
Well,
and
yes.
hostile,
Because we
that
know
don't
that
make you a
anger is a
man because you
secondary
mad all the time.
emotion. Yes, but
Yeah.
that's it. Because I think even in our community, this is my new theory, and I'm testing it out because I believe, Dante, that there are four realms that black men can exist in that's acceptable. I was going to say by society, but it's almost acceptable in our community as well. You got the angry black man. You're allowed to be an angry
Angry.
black man
Yes.
because yeah. Oh, that's so typical. See, you're always
Yes.
angry. We're allowed to be the entertaining black man, whether that's in sports or
Yeah.
song and dance. We can entertain,
Yeah. Yeah.
almost Bojangles in that
Uh-huh.
regard. You can be the over sexualized black man. Now,
Hmm.
today you're making me rethink that. You can be the over sexualized as long as it's in a heterosexual or heteronormative manner.
As long as you're the penetrator and not the penetrated.
Okay, that's even better definition. Or you can be the black buffoon that everyone walks over.
Yeah.
But other than that, those are the four pinnacles that I'm here noticing, and it might change, but that's just my temporary theory that I'm thinking when it comes to a black man. So now you have a black man who is same gender loving. So let's talk through that. Who now has who's fighting stigmas, who's fighting traumas, and what are some of the mental health things that you see that these men struggle with?
Low self-esteem. Low
Mm,
self-esteem is the main one. Low self-esteem and social acceptance because
mm,
being a black man is one thing. Being a black gay man can be very superficial. It's all about a
mm-hmm,
look. It's all about how you
mm-hmm.
present. How are you
Wow.
dressing? How
Wow.
is your body?
Wow.
All of that. It's very, very, very superficial. And if you don't fit into certain standards of acceptance, you can feel like you don't belong, like you're an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
There's an
Mm-hmm.
inability to sustain healthy relationships. If
Wow.
we're not taught how to have a relationship. There's no manual on how to love another man. There's no template. There's no guidebook. So
And we
everything is
struggle
trial
just
by faith.
having, yeah, I think we struggle with a lot of times just having healthy relationships,
Yeah,
period, in
right.
any type, because one of my questions I ask in couples therapy is who is your model of what a healthy relationship? I won't even go into marriage
Right.
or dating or even engagement of a healthy relationship, and then I shut my mouth, and 90% of the time I get crickets
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
don't know. So if
But no,
if in the heteronormative they're struggling, you can only imagine what it's like in other fields when we're talking about same gender loving LGBTQIA communities with that. So I definitely I love what you're saying. Struggle with what normal and what healthy relationships look like. Low self esteem. Now let me challenge you on that regard, because I can hear some of my viewers saying, well, what about those who are constantly putting themselves out there? When I say that by dressing a certain way, and what do you say about that for those who are just like forcing, for lack of a better phrase, I want to say forcing themselves down your throat, and you
the
got to
affirmation seekers,
yes, that's
the
good.
affirmation seekers, and I would always ask myself, I wonder how these people would behave if social media did not exist. If there was
Mm,
no outlet to be seen, if there was no outlet to
wow,
outshine the next post or the next
wow.
person, if there was no outlet to doll yourself up and
Hmm.
out filter your face, how would you exist? How would you navigate through society? Where would you get
Right,
affirmation from? What would be your
right.
drug? And for a lot of them, it feels
Oh,
like social media is their drug. I have to post. I have to show my
Mm-hmm.
outfit. I have to let the kids have it because so I can get those likes, so I can get those comments. I know people that if they post a picture and it doesn't get the number of likes they want, they'll delete the picture and
Mm-hmm.
see that as a failure. I only got 100,000 likes.
Wow.
I need to get a million. It's a drug. It has become a
Yes.
drug to feel validated and to feel like you
Yes.
belong and to feel seen. Because for so long, a lot of black gay men did not feel seen by general society. It's like I'm doing
Wow.
all this work, I'm putting forth all this energy, but I'm still not seen. I'm not allowed to hold my brother's hand at the
Wow.
rallies against police injustice. I can't stand by the
Mm-hmm.
straight black man's hand and say, "Yo, we're sick of this," because they look over at me and say, "Why is this fag here? Who brought the punks here? Why
Mm.
the punks here?"
Mm-hmm.
We're at
Mm-hmm.
we're at black rallies getting gay bashed when we're all trying
Wow.
to fight a system that's against
Wow.
black men. So that's why I love
Right.
that the title of this is
That's good.
Sexuality in Black Men, not black gay
Mm-hmm.
men, not black bisexual men, black men. Because who I
Mm-hmm.
sleep with is totally irrelevant to the fact that a police killed a black man in cold blood and I'm
Right.
standing next to you fighting against this systemic oppression coming against black men. I have never
Yes.
gotten pulled over for being gay, but I've gotten pulled over for
Right.
being black. you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
And I think when
Okay.
we
That's
when we
good.
begin to normalize these conversations to show that we are black men first, we're black men
Mm.
first. And I just so happen to be gay,
Mm.
because I've never had
Mm.
sex again in my life. I'm still a black man. So stop trying to
Yes.
force me having sex into the conversation. You don't know who I'm intimate with. All you know is if I decide to
What?
become
What?
intimate, it's going to be with a man.
We don't know who half the people are intimate with, if
We
truth
don't
be
know.
told.
We
We
don't
really
know.
don't. You brought up a point that I never really, maybe I thought about it, but didn't contemplate it as deep as you said it. When now for like a George Floyd rally, we know that George Floyd was a black man who was
hmm
killed, brutally murdered by
hmm
cops. And
hmm
in that regard, now those who identify as black gay men who want to support. So is there and have there been trauma and has that been something you had to coach some of your clients through that may want to participate but chose not to or chose a back seat because of the fear that not only now am I fighting a system, but I'm fighting my own community to even have a
Yes.
voice or being heard. Talk to me about that, Dante, because
How do you
it just hit me like that.
now imagine being a young black gay man who was constantly seeing his friends being attacked or victimized because of their sexual orientation at the hands of people that
Uh-huh.
look just like them. Imagine being
Mm-hmm.
a young black gay man who is called fag, sissy, punk when he walks through his
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood that's supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be safe, and the only ones talking about him are heterosexual black men, allegedly heterosexual.
Mm.
They're talking about him as he goes to and fro. Now, imagine the same young man seeing
That
someone that looks like
allegedly that
him.
just killed me. That
Yeah,
just killed me right there.
alleged.
But I'm moving on. Uh-huh.
Now, watch the same. Imagine the same young black gay man, who is watching a young brother that looks just like him, i.e., Trayvon Martin, who is
Mm-hmm.
heterosexual,
Mm-hmm.
killed by
Right.
George Zimmerman, murdered by
Yes.
George Zimmerman, and then the whole
Yes.
community rallying in opposition
Yes.
against what George Zimmerman did to this young heterosexual black
Yes.
boy.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the young black gay man is getting beat
Mm-hmm.
up, killed, shot, stabbed every other day by black
Wow.
men, and nothing is
Wow.
being said, nothing is being done. Roll that over to the transgender community where transgender
That's
persons
good.
are being murdered every day, by people that have the same skin color as them. There are no
Mm-hmm.
rallies. There's no cry for
Mm-hmm.
justice. There's nothing.
Wow.
Imagine the trauma of that person
Wow.
saying,
That's good.
wow, my people don't care if I die. Even if a white
Right.
person kills me, I don't think they're going to rally behind me because all they see me as being gay.
And
The
not
only
seeing
time
them
we
as being
see
a human being.
Right, human being. The only time we've seen any kind of kickback was with the Ed Buck trial, when those two
Mm.
black gay men died because of his drug use and all that kind of stuff. Then we saw some
Right.
movement. But the majority of Black people
Wow.
are not going to rally at the death of a young Black
Wow.
gay man at the hands of heterosexual Black men. They're not going to say, you guys stop bullying those Black gay boys, leave them alone. They're not going to do that. So imagine that kind of stress that
Wow.
happens. So
Wow.
what we end up seeing is a lot of young Black gay men putting up the facade of heterosexuality. They end up
Mm.
getting with women. They end up
Mm-hmm.
marrying women, but they still
Mm-hmm.
have dudes on the side. Then when they bring HIV back home to the woman, now you want to beat up this man for being on the DL when you did not give him the
Wow.
grace to live in his authentic life. He was forced
Mm.
to live that way because the Black community oppresses Black gay men.
Can
So
we talk about?
what do I do? What do I do? I
Yes,
want
go
to
ahead.
be accepted by my neighbor. I want to walk safely down my street. So I guess I got to
Right.
put on this air. So putting on this air, I'm suppressing who I really am, which is mental trauma. I'm
Mm-hmm.
depressed. Then I get into a relationship with a woman. I can't be the man that she wants me to be because I don't know
Mm-hmm.
who I am anyway. And then I introduce all this stuff to the relationship. And at the end of it all, people go to the woman and gravitate to her and say, wow, I can't believe he did you that way. He only did her that way because you did him that way preemptively. You pushed him into that relationship with that woman because he could not be himself. All that
And
roots back to the church.
uh-huh. And wow, and what I see is that scene in For Colored Girls, and it was quite brilliant how Tyler Perry shifted because she was the one in white, no, red. She was the woman in
Red.
red. Whoopi was white. So when Janet Jackson played that role, and she says that, I thought it was quite brilliant because I know that HIV, when that play was originally written, powerful play, that wasn't one of Norbert's. I love that he switched that
Right.
in there, and the secretiveness, and even how he did not identify himself as being a gay man.
Right. I'm
With
not
that, so
gay.
a lot of he said, "I'm not gay," and so, but he was the one who was the carrier of the HIV because we did not have
Mhm.
these healthy conversations, and even that can be
Right.
a very difficult conversation to have, and normalizing that. I want to deal with a couple things that you had talked about when we're talking about, because mental health is my passion. I know that when I'm looking at the statistics, when we're looking at those men who identify as gay, black, LGBTQIA, the new term I think is going to queer, if I'm not mistaken. So, but we know that those men are 4 times as more likely to commit suicide or have suicide ideation as opposed to their straight counterparts, if I could say it that way. And then if we're looking at transgender, that's almost 6 to 10 times more
Mhm.
likely of attempts. And I think, Dante, you already spoke to that, but I don't want to gloss over that because of all the rejection and the trauma and the stigma that has gone on that happens. And my philosophy about suicide and suicide ideation is this: I believe that individuals just want the pain to end, and having
Yes.
conversations will help a lot of that pain to end. And when you are in such a painful situation, you no longer have the capacity to think in a rational manner and to even
Mhm.
ward off or continue to fight because you may not have any more fight left in you because you are such in, I love what you say, in survival mode 24
Mhm.
7, that you believe the only way out is to end your life. Talk to me about that. And even I know you've seen it and have helped and supported so many who want to or had wanted to end their lives or had suicide ideation or attempted. How is that? Because that's not something you move past quickly. Because I've lost a client to suicide, and that hurts still to this day. Talk
Mhm.
to me about that a little bit, Dante, about the whole suicide and the increase of that in communities of color, especially when we talk about LGBTQIA.
I mean, when you think about it, if you are a young person and your family kicks you out for being gay,
Mm-hmm.
and they're basically told,
Yes.
well, when you stop being gay, you can come back home. Or when you stop being gay, I love you, but this is who I am.
Right.
And you're being
Right.
told that God
That's
doesn't love
good.
you as long as you're gay. God
Woo.
doesn't love gay people, and God will never accept you, and God doesn't like what you're
Right.
doing. You're an abomination. What hope do you have to keep
Wow.
going?
Wow.
If your mama doesn't love you, your dad doesn't love you, if God doesn't love you, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I here? What is the purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Now, because I'm kicked out of the home, I can't go to school.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Right.
get a job because I
Right.
have no education. I can't go get a job because I have no clothes. I have the clothes on my
Right.
back. So now the
Right. And
only
that's
thing that
it.
I can do to survive is to sell myself. So I'm selling myself, and I
Mm.
have these strangers just using my body any way they see fit so I can have a meal, or that I can pay a
Yes.
cell phone bill, or whatever the case.
Yes.
My life is not worth living. It's not worth living.
Mm.
So death is a welcomed escape from all this pain. All this pain I'm
Yes.
feeling, all because people don't understand who I am as a sexual being. Because my
Mm.
sexuality has just surpassed
Trumped
every other
everything
possibility
else.
that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I could be the
Mm-hmm.
next president. I could be the next great lawyer, Supreme Court judge,
Wow.
whatever. I could be
Wow.
the next great whatever. But you allowed my sexuality to dictate how you loved me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that is reason enough. And we're talking about young people. Teenagers don't have the
Yes.
bandwidth to handle a lot of stuff. And when they don't have the
Right.
wherewithal to see beyond what they're going through right now, adults can kind of
Yes.
muster up, well, tomorrow may be better. Teens don't have that. They're like, this is the moment I'm living in. This is my life.
Yes. And Dante, can I
Why
go
would
here
they
before
sit
you?
around?
I love what you said. Don't have the bandwidth or the mental capacity, because we already know that young men's brains do not stop developing until they're about
Right,
23,
right,
24. So now
right.
you've kicked him out at 14, 15, 16 because of
Hmm.
that. His brain has not fully developed. He may
Right.
not even know what he wants to do. This could
Yeah.
be, I'm not trivializing anything, but saying this might be a phase, or might be something
A
he's going
season.
through. A season, right, right, right. And we're now kicking them out. And you're right, because homelessness is huge in a lot of the Black gay community, especially
Hmm.
for these young men who are now
Hmm.
couch surfing, who's living in
Hmm.
someone else's cars, who are just hooking up with someone so they have a safe space to sleep that night. And so now the chances of, I love all the demographic and all the stigmas and contributing factors to their mental health and well-being that you stated, because I don't want to gloss over that. Now they drop out of school, so now they
Hmm.
lack education,
Yep.
so they don't have skills. A lot of times,
Nope.
many of them struggle with even getting a driver's license and
Right.
or ID. They get
Right.
bad credit, so now they
Hmm.
don't. The socioeconomical things are not there, so they have
Hmm.
now more contributing factors on top
Hmm.
of that. They're a Black man, on top of that they identify as being gay, on top of all of these other things. And so we wonder why there's so much trauma that
Yes.
happens, and we continue to put more on it.
And
Brilliant,
when you have
Dante.
and when you have nothing to lose, you do anything for a win.
Yes.
So
Oh, that's good.
these kids,
Say that
these,
one more time, because I don't want,
when you have
when you have
nothing to
nothing.
lose, you do anything for a
Ooh.
win. So these
Oh
kids
my
are living
God.
on the street. They're on the
Oh.
street. They have nothing to lose. So when you walking by and they take your
Ooh.
purse, or they do that, they have nothing to lose. And if it's your purse or me
Wow.
starving another day, I'm gonna
Wow.
take your purse because I need to eat. I have
Wow.
not eaten in 4 days. My mother kicked me out. My father doesn't love me. My father, who's a pastor, doesn't love me. God doesn't love me. I'm
Mm.
tired of having random sex for a meal.
Mm.
I'm gonna take your purse. Now these started out as really good kids because all the
Right.
ones that I have met that have gone through
Wow.
these
Oh
situations,
my God.
these
They're
are all
beautiful
loving
young men.
young men,
Yes.
beautiful young men,
Yes.
great young men who
Yes.
only want a hug. They want a hug from someone that they
That's
can
good.
trust, that they know there was nothing from them. And Marty, what I would love to
Yes.
see is these parents that are doing this. I know we kind of went left. I would love
That's
to see
okay.
them be held accountable. They're not being
Mm.
held accountable for what they're doing. Their friends need to be like, how dare you kick your child out their friend, the church needs to be like, no, we don't kick out kids for being gay.
Yes.
We don't do
Can,
that,
can I
mom,
say
dad.
that Faithful Central has started a support group for parents, a biblically based support group for parents whose children identify as gay, which is so amazing. And I spoke to one of the Bible study leaders over there, and she says, Marty, my heart just went out to these parents and to these children. And I want to give a shout out to Bishop Omer and to Faithful Central for having the courage to start such a program and support group for parents so that we can end a lot of this trauma that a lot of
Right.
our children, these kids, are going through. And she says, Marty, if nothing else, my goal is to open up the eyes of the parents to say,
Yes.
you don't have to agree with the lifestyle per se of your child,
No.
but let's continue to love them since we profess to be Christians as God would love them. And then when they
Yes.
get of age, you can put some boundaries on them as well. But when they're love them.
Love
Love
them.
them.
The
Love
same way
them.
you love your son that's 16 with 2 kids.
Ooh, wait. This, Doctor, you did, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right
I'm saying,
because we support.
man got 2 kids, 2 baby mamas. He ain't kicked out. All you say is don't get no more girls pregnant, but get a job. That's all you say. And you babysit his
That's
kids. You
wow,
buy the kids clothes.
wow,
You even let the baby mama live with you. Your mama kicked her out. He can stay up in there. So man got
wow,
his baby mama in the house. We all know a Jody. We
wow,
all know a Jody.
wow,
And Jody's not kicked out. Jody's allowed to live at home with all his events
wow,
and all that kind of stuff. But you got the kid that's gay. He's a straight A student, but he got to get out. Get
wow,
out. That spirit can't live in my house. You're an abomination. It's not. It's not
wow,
fair. It's not fair. And
wow.
what I have witnessed is that the gay youth, the gay men, period, that have
Hmm.
affirming and supportive families, supportive parents that they can talk to about their relationships and all that,
Right.
they have healthier relationships because they go into
Wow.
the relationship saying, you know what, if my mom and dad don't like you, then this ain't gonna work because I'm close to my family. So that person they're
Right.
dating is like, yo, your parents are involved in your life like that. Yeah, I don't date nobody my parents don't like. That type of thing.
Wow.
You're setting your child up for a healthy relationship,
Wow.
for successful relationships, for relationships that have meaning and depth, and not just a shallow sexual situation that's going to end in trauma, abuse, and hurt. Get
I love it
involved
because
in
you're
what your
set.
child is doing.
Beautiful because believe it or not, kids, even though I was mad at my parents and all that, I still heard them in the back of my mind, even when I was 20, 21, 22, still, yeah, to this day, I still hear them. I'm like, well, y'all get out my head.
Right.
And that shows the power of the influence of parents. And I'm going to say this, specifically Black fathers to their sons.
Mm-hmm.
They can make a
Mm-hmm.
world of a difference by just having the conversation that you can change the trajectory of that your sons, your daughters' lives by the power of just being present. And I say that because it makes such a huge difference. Dante, we are almost at time. We didn't even get into substance abuse. We didn't even get into some of these other access to health care and those
Right.
type of things. Um,
Right.
um, I want to end with these type of things, and these are some things, and please add to them as fit that I felt I love leaving our listeners with some proactive things that they can do, and I listed
Mm-hmm.
a couple things that they could do definitely. I think we have to be, and here's my topic number one of being proactive. Continue with the education of lived experiences that a lot of these young Black men, these young Black girls, they do have. What else? What would you say about that? Continue to communicate and educate on lived experiences so it's not a story, but we can come alongside them and come from a point of empathy, even if we don't understand.
That was it. You just said it right there. That was it. Basically, it's all about how you engage, how you navigate these conversations. And I think just having those kind of talks will normalize behaviors and won't have so much of a shock value when people tell you
Mm-hmm.
things. It's like, okay, I've heard that before. I know somebody that went through that. And it builds a referral
Right.
network. And then what
Oh,
you
that's
can't
good.
handle, you know someone that can step in and meet the need of that individual where they're at. So we got to stop putting our stuff under this bushel and start being
Yes.
honest about what we're dealing with, what we're going through, what we've done, because it's only going to help the next person.
Yeah, I love that. You talked about this referral network, and that was my point number two. Continue to support organizations, allies, other groups, Bible studies at Faithful Central. Shout out to them. And they're not a
Yeah.
paid supporter of this, but who will continue to empower us to have better and healthier connections with those, our children and these young men.
Yeah.
What more do you say about that too?
And basically just be mindful what you don't know, you don't know. And what you can
Yeah.
handle, and if you can't handle
Yes.
it, reach out. Faithful Central, I'm a resource. If you need me to come and sit on them parent groups, I got you. Reach
I
out to
love it.
people that are willing to do it. And all I need is a door to walk through. That's it.
Okay. Okay. I
Because
love
I
it.
think more churches need to do that, because I hate to hear people say these gay folks try and take over. What's up with all this gay stuff going on right now? We kind of been here for quite a long time, like centuries. We've been here. Only
Way
thing
in the
different
Bible.
now, it's right. I mean, we kind of been here. Only thing different now is that we now have platforms to tell our story. And we can be
Yeah.
more
Okay.
visible. But just, yeah, it's time for us to retrain our understanding about human sexuality. It's not black and
I
white.
love that.
It's not so cookie cutter.
I love that. Dante, for those who want to follow you, how do they follow you? How do they get your materials? How do we get a copy of that dissertation? How do we follow, how do we follow Dante, and how do we support him? And how can we throw some love offerings that way? Yes, yes.
Listen. You can sow a seed, pay off this school loan, because Biden ain't doing it, so I need help.
Hey, we listen, we all do. We all do. Yes,
Right. You
yes.
can
But
follow
how do
me.
we follow you, Dante?
Definitely go to my website, DanteMorrison.com. It's DONTA Morrison.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Same name on everything. I keep it simple. It's not that dude Dante on IG. No, Dante Morrison across all social media platforms, my website, LinkedIn, everything. If you are someone living with HIV and you need just someone to talk to or
Nice.
help navigating into services, or you feel alone, reach out to me, inbox me, DM me. I will respond. I will
That's
respond. I
good.
know how it feels to be living with HIV and you're still not haven't come to terms with it. I'm someone that was infected in 1999. I'm transparent. I don't hide behind it no more. So I know where you're at. If you are living with HIV and you feel all alone, trust, or you know someone that feels all alone, reach out to me. I will get them into care, get them some support services. I will make it happen, because I don't want anybody to feel like they're all by themselves with something so life altering. I just want to put that out there, Marty, because for some reason we don't
Love
talk about
that.
HIV enough anymore within the Black
Right.
community, but it is still a
Right.
pressing issue. It is still a huge issue in our community. So that's my big
It
thing:
is.
HIV education, prevention, awareness, linkage to care, all that stuff. That's
True.
me.
Yes, and I love that, Dante, because I was in the Bay Area and you were living in LA at the time. So in the 80s, when people were dropping off like flies, and
Yeah.
like you, I lost count of over 100 people that I have known that have died from HIV
Right.
and AIDS, and I agree with you. We have to keep continuing to keep the conversation out there, and make sure that we are aware, just like we're aware of flu and COVID and monkeypox and all these other things. Make sure you're getting
Indeed.
your health checked constantly and continually. I'm in there because of my age, about every 4 months, just 3 to 4 months, getting
Listen.
listen, take a full battery, please. Just,
Right. All of it.
when it, all of that, I'm like, how many vials of blood you need? But listen, if
Right.
it's going to keep me safe, keep me healthy, all those wonderful things, I am a proponent that we have to make sure we're getting our mental health checkups, we're getting our physical checkups, we're getting our spiritual checkups, all of those things, because it is so imperative what we do and everything.
Mhm.
Dante, Man, I can't thank you enough. We never have enough time about what we talk about. So this year, I did not wait till December, but I will book you in December ahead of time. So shout out to me for that one. Come on now.
Show.
Yes, yes. Much love to you, man, and keeping
You
up the
too, my
great work,
brother.
what you're doing. Listen, y'all, we want to thank Dr. Dante Morrison for his amazing work and advocacy with helping us to get a better understanding. I thought it was so imperative that we talk about this, the topic about sexuality and Black men and how it affects our mental health because of the stigma, because of the trauma, and because a lot of times we are in such defensive mode that we can never come down from that. And too many of us are secretly suffering in the shadow of shame. And we have to stop the stinking thinking by making sure that we have access to proper community care that's going to care about our physiological as well as psychological needs. Now, we never want to leave you without having resources in which to contact and reach out to. So please, if you are experiencing any type of crises, you can type crises to 741-741. And that is a text message with live people on there that will help you along your mental health journey. Oh, there are other resources that we have. I list those that I'm also listed on, and there are other Black psychologists and therapists on there. Psychology Today, Therapy for Black Men, Good Therapy, Marcel Consulting. And again, we want you to utilize and remember our new mental health helpline that is at 988. Again, 988 from any phone, cell phone, public phone, house phone. You can dial 988 and they will get you a mental health provider that's there, that's trained, that can help you in those situations. And since this is the month of October, and today is my birthday when this airs, hey, do me a favor, check out the website Mental Health Marty, because there's some amazing merch on there. Y'all support me by picking up some merch on there. We have cups, we have t-shirts, we have so many things. The journal, Stop the Stinking Thinking. And during the month of October, listen, I'm going to also be doing pre-sales for my upcoming children's book that will be released within the next couple of weeks. That's going to be on Amazon, as well as my editors and my final revisions of the journal, Stop the Stinking Thinking, that I'm so excited about as well. And join me at Black on the Block again at 1933 South Broadway on Sunday, October 30th in the city of Los Angeles. We had a great time last month in September, just getting the message out about speaking up, speaking out, and living, because we never want you to forget that. We had a great time. Listen, we are coming. We are back in the Gardena area, and we are so excited about that. Starting in January, we will also have insurance panels. For those of you who have insurance panels and are looking for Black therapists, we are going to be there to support you. But as we always say, in this journey called life, we never want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live in order that you might be able to enjoy your life. Thank you so much for all of the love. We will see you next week. Take care and God bless.